Good morning, everyone. I am Martina Galli from POLI.design, and today I will be moderating the presentation of the Specializing Master in Design for Sustainability and Regeneration. Please feel free to use the chat room to submit any questions you have, which we will address in the second part of the session. And now let me introduce the speakers, Sofia Soledad Duarte Poblete and Natalie Dalle Molle. I leave you the floor.
Thank you very much. Hello everyone, it is a pleasure to be here today. We are very happy. We are presenting the third edition of our master. We actually are a group of four that have been creating these masters in the beginning. There is the Professor Valentina Rognoli, which is the scientific director. She is an expert in materials for design, biodesign, design for sustainability, and regenerative design. We have Carlo Proserpio, which is the vice director. He is an expert in life cycle assessment and life cycle design, and he has a great expertise in working with different companies. Then myself, Sofia Soledad Duarte Poblete, I am the didactic coordinator. I am PhD in design related to materials and design for environmental sustainability, together with biodesign and living interaction. And then we have my colleague Natalie Dalle Molle, which is the project work coordinator, and she can present herself.
Thank you, Sophie. So hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. My name is Natalie, and as Sophia said, I'm one of the coordinators of the master. I was fortunate enough in the first edition of the master, I was a tutor, so I was able to follow all of the classes during the master. And then, as for the second edition onwards, I've been helping with the coordination of the master. And I'm actually very privileged to have been a tutor of this master because now also I can pursue. I'm a PhD candidate here in Politecnico, doing also my research in sustainability, connecting the design for sustainability and also from management engineering perspective, because I'm not a designer, I'm an engineer. So.
Great, thanks Natalie. So yes, to explain you a bit more about this master, we actually have created this master because we understood that 80% of products' environmental impact comes at the design stage. Actually, we understood that human responsibility in the environmental crisis is widely recognized, and designers have a lot of power to work on that. We know that climate change, irreversible damage the ecosystem, the soil impoverishment, depletion of natural resources, so we know we have to take action. In this context, we know that designers must develop full awareness of environmental issues, and we need to acquire skills and tools to propose effective solutions. So actually, we have created this master knowing all of this and trying to involve designers into new tools and skills and methodologies in order to create different solutions. This master will start in November. We have 20 seats, and it is on site, of course.
If I can add something on what you mentioned, I think one of the things also that we've been noticing while we're doing the interviews for the master is that a lot of people are interested, and fortunately are interested in working with sustainability, but not necessarily they have gained all the sustainability expertise or they've learned about sustainability during their graduation, their laureates and bachelors, for example. And so the idea for this master is that we can help you towards this transition in also positioning yourself as someone that can work in sustainability. So, and we know that sustainability is not a one recipe. It's not one way that you can tackle sustainability, for example. So the idea is that you can have multiple, let's say, tools and methodologies that you can apply. And that you can also discover yourself what part of sustainability that is actually interesting for you during this master. So you can see that we want to show you different perspectives on sustainability also throughout the master. So
yes, exactly. Actually, that is one of our goals. There is no only one way to tackle the environmental problematics, social problematics, economical problematics that come related to sustainability pillars. So actually, the master goals are to give an overview of different design for sustainability and regeneration strategies and concepts between theoretical and practical part. So we're going to dive into different concepts and approach. As Natalie was saying, there is not only one way. And the idea is to have different lectures and different workshops that are going to help you to understand how to implement this design for sustainability and regenerative design strategies. And we're going to have also different visits to different companies to understand how is the situation around related to sustainability, how are the scope of the companies nowadays, and how it is actually working in their real life. We are going to go through concepts such as eco-design, sustainable design, material-driven design, regenerative design, biodesign. So we actually have different perspectives and different approaches, as Natalie was saying. The final goal is to train professionals that can able to go to the real life and tackle all these environmental issues, social issues, and economical issues from a design perspective. So we're going to explain you a bit of the structure of the master.
Yes. So as we've mentioned, the idea is that you can have different perspectives, and I think one of the also like an important part is that you can think critically about what you're doing, what you're designing, or even not designing. For example, as I mentioned before, I'm not a designer, but I could also learn a lot in this master about different methodologies. And the way that the master is structured is that you begin learning a little bit more of some more consolidated methodologies in terms of reducing the environmental impact. And then we go towards more regenerative approaches also regarding sustainability. And so in the beginning, in the lectures, you have more of a theoretical background, let's say, which we know is not the most liked part, but we feel it's important. Because of course we need to understand what we're doing, and since a lot of you come from different backgrounds, we also think that it is important to level a bit the understandings regarding sustainability. And for this first part, where you learn, for example, about environmental issues and social issues and economic issues, also then the idea here is to bring professors, for example, that are biologists, marine biologists, environmental engineers, but also since the beginning, from the beginning, bringing people that are designers and then that work already in this kind of field, so you can understand why it is important to learn this kind of things. And also so the things are not so much theoretical in this beginning. We try to mix it up with some visits, for example, for recycling to recycling facilities, and also doing some workshops where you can learn a little bit more about these concepts. For example, the SDGs and Earth cycles and this kind of things. And then we go towards a more practical part of the master. So here, as I mentioned in the beginning, you have an overview about the different sustainability methods that already exist. So mostly we talk about, or we hear about some design strategies that are more related to the product level, for example, but we have product service system level, we have social level, we have global level. So you'll learn a little bit more about the different methodologies in design that exist, that already exist. And then we start with some of the methodologies that are more consolidated, such as life cycle design, life cycle assessment. So these are methodologies that have been there for some decades now, and we feel it's important that you learn. And then, as I mentioned, we progress towards a more regenerative approaches and methodologies. So we have some anchor projects also that we're calling, for example, we learn about the circular economy. We learn about also how we can incorporate crafts and traditional knowledge into sustainability practices. We talk about, we have also another anchor module, for example, biomimicry, and of course the materials part, because we have the experts, fortunately, here in our master. And then we have some other modules that we believe are very important for you to become a well-rounded professional in sustainability, let's say it like that.
Yeah, great, Natalie, thanks. And if I can add, the different models you will see are exactly as Natalie was saying. We start with some theoretical foundations, so it's going to be through the environmental issues, the social issues, and the economic issues. So this is like let's say, the hard part because it's a lot of readings and a lot of classes, but then you're going to start applying all of this knowledge into different workshops. So the idea is to collect all the information and then apply them into the different workshops. One interesting thing is like in these applications you will be able to discuss with a lot of professionals because some of the professors are not only professors but are working in companies or in different startups. So you're going to have the moment to discuss with people that is working in these spaces outside also of academia. We believe that it's very important to make a balance between these two, like academic knowledge but also industrial and applicative knowledge. That's why we have a very varied faculty in our master. We also consider that it is good to have an interdisciplinary collaboration. So we want different backgrounds in design. So you are going to work a lot in groups. You are going to, in the different modules, you are going to be able to change groups and work with different colleagues. And this is something that we really try to pursue with this master. One important view of this master is that, as Natalie was saying, we go from some perspectives that are more related to eco-design and small changes in design and to regenerative approaches, but also from human-centered perspective towards more than human and multi-species design perspectives. And I think this is quite particular from our master at the same time. To explain you a bit more, our idea of having professionals is not only to have eco-designers, for example, but also have research and development experts in sustainability in the area of design direction, for example, related to eco-design, designers of head of eco-product development. We are sure that every candidate that makes this master is going to be able to work in teams, interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary teams. It is going to be a great master to learn more about materials design for sustainability, and actually biodesign, again, is one of the key topics of this master. So you're going to have these different lectures that are going to permit you to enter in different aspects of biodesign and multi-species design. Then we have eco-design manager or design director or head of sustainability, communication and branding. We have included in this master some modules related to communication and European regulations because we are sure these things are very connected in how we are going to talk about environmental responsible products, artifacts, interiors, and etc. So it is very important for us that the communication, the way we talk, the way we align with the normative frameworks in Europe is going to be important for these professionals. So this is what we are looking for to achieve with this master. We can say why to choose this master. We think it explores an amazing and varied approaches in design for sustainability. So you can see materials-driven design, biodesign, as I said, more than human design, alongside with different regenerative design strategies. Actually, we have these different seminars that even if they are short or one lecture, they are going to be very meaningful because they are amazing new thematics related to sustainability and regenerative approaches. You're going to have a very good experience balance between theories and practice. So the idea is that every time you do something theoretical, then it can be applicable in some way. We also think that you're going to be able to develop a critical ability. As Natalie was saying at the beginning, it is very important that you also create this master. So actually it's going to be important your participation every time. And we think that the real world is going to give you a very good perspective of how it is moving today and how it is going to be in the future. So we think that being part of this master, you actually can be part of creating a more sustainable and regenerative future.
And sorry if I can add just one thing also from my perspective that I participated in the first edition. I think it's a very good opportunity for you also to connect with people that are also interested in that, because maybe you've so far you've not really met other people that maybe are interested in this, and you'll be able to share this in a class with international students, so you understand different perspectives. Also, we hear this a lot in the interviews. For example, maybe I'm not from Europe, like me and Sophie, but I want to go study there because I understand that there's a lot of how can I say, like the regulations and also all the other kind of movements that are being developed in sustainability are stronger there, and from my perspective, that's true. So I guess it's interesting also to be here and to live this experience in a place that is talking about this. So whenever we know about some talks or lectures that maybe are not here in Politecnico or in POLI.design, but are in Milan, we also want to share this with you so you can also build your network and learn about what is being said here, and so you can also progress in your career later on with these kind of experiences.
Yes, thank you, Natia. And also I forgot to say something else, which is related with the internship, which is going to be at the end of the whole lecture. So actually this year, for example, we are starting in November the lectures, we are finishing in June the lectures, and after that the students are going to start their internship. During this internship, which can be in Milan or abroad, you can find actually a place where you will prefer to stay. For example, in the first edition of the master, some students remain in Italy while others went abroad, and the different typologies of internship that they have done have very crafted their profile as designers. For example, we have some consultancy in sustainability where the students went to understand the strategies, how it can be implemented in companies, in different kind of companies, developing methodologies, and this has been used for the final thesis project. So actually, the internship is going to help you to make also your final project with the thesis. We have students that have been participating in product design companies, making products with the waste and discard from design companies, so actually trying to implement circular design strategies through beautiful design approaches. Then we have emerging materials a lot we have the last year, so it was in different companies from the Netherlands, also from France, where the students went to experiment with emerging materials, like it can be mycelium and even regenerative surface to create different approaches related to different materials. So actually the possibilities are quite broad. It is also going to depend in how you will be in the future. So actually we open a lot of possibility to the students to also craft their own future. So I think that with this we finish the presentation. We leave the floor to Martina.
Yes, thank you. I take the floor again to provide more details about the application process for the next edition of the Specializing Master in Design for Sustainability and Regeneration, which will start in November 2026. So on the Specializing Master webpage on the POLI.design website, you will find the full list of the required materials to take part in the selection process. And by clicking on the Apply button, you will be able to create your personal profile and to fill it in with your documents and the materials. And then the application process will end on the Politecnico di Milano website. If you need any assistance during this phase, you can book a call by scanning the QR code that you can find in this slide. There are two main steps to follow. The first one is the selection step, which must be completed no later than 60 days before the course starting date. And the second one is the enrollment step to be completed within 45 days. And please note that applications are processed in chronological order, and so spots are limited. So please don't wait for the last minute. Additionally, by uploading your documents, you will be already eligible to take part in the next round of interviews scheduled for March 23 at 10 a.m. And you can find the course fee listed on this slide, along with our promotional policy designed specifically for this program, an initiative to support the design potential of those who choose POLI.design. In particular, I'd like to highlight the early bird promo with variable discounts until all places are filled. And now let's move on to the Q&A session, and we will answer to your questions. So let's start with the first one. Is this course eligible for graduates with a literature degree?
Literature degree.
Yes.
Well, we try to be open to most of candidates, because we actually are trying to create a master which is interdisciplinary. I think that one of the bases is to have some knowledge in design, because we want to be clear that this master, we don't teach how to design. We teach strategies of designing for sustainability. So it could be very challenging if you don't know anything about design. So it is not actually a 5 years degree in design, but it's a master, specialized in master in design for sustainability and regeneration. So even if we create the workshops where you are going to have a design process, we don't explain the whole design process from zero. So I think that if your only background is literature, it could be very challenging, but it will be necessary to make an interview and to understand if you have other backgrounds or you have worked before with design, or you know how the design process works. So I can say that the last years we were very varied and open, but most of the candidates that were selected and admitted have some relation to design and previous knowledge or previous work in this field, because otherwise it can be too much challenging for you.
Okay, thank you. Then, could you please specify which type of visits students will have during the master?
Yes, sure. Would you like to intervene?
I can, I can see what I remember also from the ones that we did already. So, because also we change it from edition to edition according to availability, but also like if what we see is interesting for the students. So, for example, in this edition now, in the beginning, during the theoretical parts, we did a visit in a recycling facility in the north of this region, Lombardia. And it was very interesting, even though it was a bit cold in that period, but it was very interesting to understand what happens in the end of life. And in this case, it was a recycling facility for electronics. So because it's very interesting for a designer to understand what happens in the end of life, so you can also from the beginning already start designing with that in mind. So we did that visit in a very, very beautiful place because it's near the mountains. Also, what we did in this edition that was different, we did the experimentation in the lab, which is the biodesign lab here in Politecnico, which is brand new since it opened this year. So I guess also that was a very interesting experience for the students to be very hands-on and with this kind of approaches. The other years we did some visits also in some companies here in the region, so they could understand a little bit what were their strategies in sustainability and how are they applying this.
Yeah, I can add this year we went to the Adi Museum during Oltre la Plastica, which was a particular exhibition into emerging materials and the evolution of different plastics. And we have the visit guided with the curator of that exhibition. So we actually tried to look not only for very established things, but also for emerging things that are happening in Milan. This year we are going to have a guided visit during the Milano Design Week with one professor that is going to guide the students through different places that are going to have very nice exhibitions. So actually it's going to be curated by the professor, one day visit. And we also have a couple of visits to like material libraries and other companies that are doing CMF design, so a lot of materials related things. And yes, a couple of companies also related to manufacturing, which is quite interesting because in that way you can see like there is not only one view, like for example materials, which I really love, but then we also have like more manufacturing or very industrial approaches, which are actually giving this open to different profiles.
And also I remembered also in this second edition we added in the circular economy module, the students will develop a workshop inside the studio. So also this is an opportunity for them to work in loco, in the real place of a studio that's already working with circular economy. And also what we try to do is to bring like real briefs for each of the modules. So even though you don't visit the company, we can maybe bring what the company needs and the brief of a company, and then maybe bring the people that work there to evaluate, for example, what you're developing. So you have a more real world kind of approach and feedback.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Then, could you please kindly explain what are the contents of the related issues module?
Yes, of course. The related issues module actually is quite broad. We changed from the first edition to the second edition to align better with what we really want to point out. but you have a specific module in packaging. So in related issues, there is a couple of lectures related only to packaging. This year we have packaging, then we have a related issue which is about fashion design. So actually this is our particular things that we are putting under the loop because actually are very, let's say, hot topics. Then we have, for example, the first year we have futures design approach, while this year we have more than human approach, more than human design and multi-species design. I think those are from this year.
Yeah, we have also food design, which is also a different topic. So we bring a professional that is also in academia, but also works professionally with this, very expert in the field. And also, since we're living in a digital world, we also believe that learning what sustainability means in a digital world is important. So we also have a module specific to that. So yeah, it's kind of different topics that we put inside related issues because, as Sophie said, there are topics that we believe deserve some specific hours for them because they're important fields in terms of sustainability in the market.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then, hello, I have an interior design engineering bachelor's from Saudi Arabia and 2-year work experience. I am from Egypt. Am I eligible to apply for the master?
Yes, I think your background is actually on point. Yeah. So I think it would be great to hear from you and have an interview and maybe understand better. Maybe something that I can say for the candidates that are looking to the interview is that we are not looking for already people that knows a lot about circular economy or environmental sustainability. We are actually looking for people that is really interested in this topic and people that even if they heard about these things but they never did a life cycle assessment because it's quite particular and niche thing, we want to hear from people that is interested in knowing more. And if I can say that these topics, to understand more about this topic, you really need to be interested because they are difficult and sometimes they need a lot of research, like in papers, in reading. So we are not actually taking written exams to understand if you understood, but the idea is that you do it because you are really interested in learning about it. So I think that every curious mind that really wants to understand it and has a background, for example, in interior design, product design, or related type of design can, of course, apply.
Yeah. And I would say also, just to add, maybe also for the person that was asking before about the literature, that had the literature background, I mean, also like it's interesting for us when we do this kind of interviews that we can understand a little bit more about the interest and the background, so we can also in this one-on-one conversation also maybe help you evaluate if the master is a good fit for you and if you are a good fit for the master, which is what we also say in the beginning, always say in the beginning of the interview. So.
Yeah.
Okay, then one more question. What is the average age group for this master course? I am 37 years old with 10 years of professional freelance experience in interior design and architecture in India. Will you still recommend this course for me?
Well, we have a very different ages, right? I can say that most of the students are coming from their bachelors, some of them from the magistrale or masters, but most of them are from the bachelor. So around, I think they start around 25 years old. And the last year we have like 36.
Yeah, 36, and also me, that I'm 34. So I can share from my perspective that, yes, I mean, for me it was super useful to do this master in order to do a career transition. So, I mean, also we can talk during the interviews. But yeah, since we mentioned in the beginning, it's not very common that you have this kind of background in your bachelor, for example, or in your work experience. I guess a lot of people come here for the master to get a little bit more of like a structured learning process on this kind of topics that can help you in your career transition. So yeah, I would say it's also for this third edition, we already have one person that is 35 plus, so you'll not be alone.
Yeah, and I also think that what we look also for the candidates, it's very mature people. So actually we try, I mean, it's a very specializing master in this topic. So actually it's a lot of studies, a lot of new things. I mean, if maybe you have already work in sustainability, of course it is better to talk to let you know what we actually do and maybe not repeat, let's say, what you already know. But if it's a topic new for you and you want to like implement this kind of knowledge into your practice that you have already been doing for several years, it is still very good, because I think these topics are necessary to learn them from theoretic to practical. There are applications that are more, let's say, playful in some way and creative, but then you have very hard and tough tasks like assessment and numbers and literature reviews and etc. So I think it is quite open. We are not, like, let's say, judging on the age. It's more about on the knowledge and the things you already knew. Because if I talk with somebody that has already done one master in sustainability, maybe it could be too overlapping with some things. But in a case that you never did or never work or just work in a superficial way with sustainability issues, this can be a great master for you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. And we have a last question. I am an interior designer with bachelor's. There are so many interesting courses that you offer. How can I choose which one is the best for me? But I think that in this case he means if you have some modules strictly related to interior design.
Okay, I imagine it was more related to the whole masters in general. But actually, we had a lot of candidates in interior design this year and the last year, because there is a lot of things very related with materials and experiences. So I think that there is a lot of things related with, for example, behaviors and how people understand the use of objects and spaces. There is no a particular model in interior design or interior materials, but actually the different things we present are related with interiors and materials and objects. So actually here we don't see the very separated design from interior design, because we see strategies of design for sustainability. But still, if you want to know more, I am sure you can book an appointment for your meeting.
Yeah, and also just if I can add, you can also, like, since you have the final project from this semester, you can also choose to do it maybe in a field that is more interesting for you, and in order to apply what you have learned throughout the master. So you can also like tailor this part, at least for the things, also for the internship and then the final project, towards the things that are more interesting to you, let's say.
Yes, actually the last year the student we had from interior background, she developed her project in materials related to environmental sustainability resources, and then she did her internship in an interior design place in Netherlands, and then she came back and graduated with this thesis presenting a new material for interior design, for example.
Okay, we have one more question. What kind of career transition in Europe can one expect after this course? It is more oriented towards the fashion industry?
The
fashion
industry. Because of Milan, maybe.
Yes. Yes.
No, I would say it's, from my perspective also, like comparing to Brazil, for example, I guess also here in the design field, there's a lot of different studios that are working with this kind of different approaches in sustainability, and also companies that are becoming more aware that they actually, there's a new regulation called eco-design, ESPR, that you learn in the master, that the companies will have to apply this kind of strategies in their development of their products. So the companies now don't really know how to do that, so they will be looking for people that know how to do that. So I guess it's not only in fashion.
Yeah, I actually think the same. Maybe it's not a directly transition. Maybe when Natalie was saying she did a transition because she was studying engineering and then she transitioned to design approaches, more related with design. But maybe what we think this master can give you is like this step on into understanding, for example, the new regulations, the new challenges that the companies will have in the next years. Because this, as you probably have heard, the last years there have been a lot of different changes in normatives, regulations, and things that companies have to take in consideration related to regeneration of materials, recycling of materials, reutilization, disassembly. So there are a lot of strategies that are going to help companies in being less environmentally impactful. Then we can talk about the social impacts as well and the economical impacts. But let's say, as I can say, one of the focus is more related to environment. So if you have this knowledge, you could